Today we're reviewing really one of the best cars for almost any kind of circumstance. The 2018 Kia Optima plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. It's kind of a lot of words for one car. It's basically just an Optima hybrid, but it also has the plug-in features, which is great. If you're looking for a car that's going to be able to do electric car stuff as well as regular car stuff and hybrid stuff, you know, no kind of range anxiety. This is a really, really great car, especially if you're looking for something with a lot of room. For me, being a heavy commuter back before COVID, I really needed something that would go everywhere, save me some money on gas, and also pause. Okay, so here we are. Let's try this again with my 2018 Kia Optima plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Hopefully we won't have any more interruptions. So as I was saying, what really works great with this car, you know, one of the things that I really wanted was a car that would qualify for these ugly purple stickers. I think now they're orange. Maybe they're doing a different color now. But you know, it was really important to me to find a vehicle that would qualify for stickers. And for those of you that don't live in California, the stickers are amazing. It lets you drive solo in the carpool lane, and with the kind of traffic we have here in LA, I mean, the carpool lane isn't always going to save you, but it's a lot better than not having it, especially if you do like a lot of driving by yourself. Which I was doing a lot of. So this car was amazing for that. We're going to talk a little bit about some of my favorite features with this car, kind of give you a good tour of it, and you know, what I like and what I dislike, kind of the whole thing. So we'll start up front. Up here we've got these premium LED lights. Now this car is they only come in kind of two options. For 2018, I think it's the EX, which gives you leather and, you know, quite a few extras. I mean, you know the deal with Kia; they tend to kind of load up on options, even if you get the base model, which is cool. I've always liked that about Kia and Hyundai. And of course, it's important to note that Kia and Hyundai are the same company. They're just, you know, different names, but it's the same parent company. So, wait for this guy to pass. Okay. So as I was saying, Kia and Hyundai are the same company, and so if you look at like the Sonata and the Optima, it's basically the same car with just kind of some different body trim. You know, different. I mean, it's a different car. Oh, this guy again. For the love of, you know. Okay. So I don't know what I was talking about, but let's get back to it. So the headlights. The headlights are the premium LED. So this car, as I was saying, now I remember what I was talking about before the motorcycle came. So the EX is what most of these are. And then you can get the technology package on top of that. And this car has the technology package, meaning this has every possible option, which is just terrific. And it gives you a lot of things. Of course, you got LED tail lights. You've got in the bumpers, you can see the parking sensors there. Those work quite well. Why they put them on the back and not on the front is a mystery to me, especially since you can't really see anything from where you're sitting in the driver's seat. You can see it's also got these little, it's got the eco plug-in, it's got the little blue, you know, everything blue-green means eco and save the earth and wonderful. And then you can see the little bit of striping down the bottom there. So it's got these LED headlights, which on high beams are pretty bright. And they're kind of bright on low, but it's really hard to see, I gotta be honest. This does have, being the adaptive package, it has the adaptive headlights. So they turn side to side when you turn the wheel, and they also adjust up and down. And that is a nice feature. That's kind of more of a premium car feature. I've owned a lot of cars, and I would say this is probably the most well-equipped car I've ever owned. It has so many options, and I love them. I love all the features. They're just great. Let's talk about another thing. You can see under the license plate there, you've got that little black plate there. That's for the adaptive cruise control. And again, huge fan of that. I really, really like that feature. If I'm just cruising on the freeway, I may not use it. I might just switch it over to regular cruise. But as soon as I hit any kind of a traffic jam, that thing goes on, and it is great. You know, all I have to do is pretty much steer the car, and the car handles the traffic jam for me. Love it, love it, love it. Can't say enough good things. The first time it drove me through a traffic jam, I bought this car in San Diego, and driving it back to LA, I hit a traffic jam like you do, and I turned on the cruise, and it made me so happy. It practically brought tears to my eyes. I just thought, where has this been my whole life? So whatever car you're looking for, whether it be one of these or something else, I can't recommend more that you get adaptive cruise. It's really, really a terrific feature. So moving on, we've got these little, what looks solid, this piano black here. Sorry, there you go. Those are actually little louvers. I'll try and get some B-roll of those opening and closing, but that's actually an active air vent for the engine. So when they're closed, obviously it's going to improve the coefficient of drag, but sometimes the engine's going to need a little more air so it can cool down, or sometimes when the engine's cold, it'll close those louvers to help it warm up more quickly and save gas. Because, you know, when an engine's running cold, that is the gasoline engine, you know, it's burning more gas. So this car tries to warm it up as quick as possible, and that's a really neat feature. Also, down here you see these little slots there. Those are actually functional. If we go over here, you can see there's a little opening right there. And so that's actually creating an air curtain that goes over the wheels and helps reduce drag. I mean, this is more than they just kind of put a hybrid drivetrain in a car. I mean, they really did their homework. If you look at the regular Optima and then like a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid Optima, there are a lot of differences visually. I mean, of course, there are a bunch of off-the-rack parts that are going to be the same, but a lot of the aero and the overall design of the body is going to be quite different. And, you know, that becomes really apparent, especially if you park them kind of side to side. So it's pretty interesting when you get a chance to check that out. There's another car coming by, so I'm going to wait. So we'll have to, right, and we're back. So I was just talking about kind of the active aero features. There's of course a lot kind of going on with this front bumper and then the side skirts. Like, you don't realize how tall the ground clearance on this car is. Just because of, you know, the side skirts and everything, it does kind of look low to the ground, but if you really look, I'll try and get you down here. There's actually a good amount of clearance, which if you're looking for a good commuter car, I think ground clearance is one of the most important features. So I really like that a lot. All right, kind of moving over to the side here. I'm gonna lock the car just so I can kind of show you that power mirror feature. Car comes with a very handsome, kind of handsome Kia remote. And it's got the key built in here that you can remove should you have to enter the car if your battery dies. And that works quite well. So as you know, key in my hands, I'm going to walk up to the car and it's going to sense that I'm nearby and it will present the mirror, which is pretty cool. And then you just simply press this button once for the driver door, twice for the rest of the doors. And then that works the same way once you close it. If you want to lock it, and you can see the mirror folds back in. So that's great. If you don't open the door within like a minute, it's going to auto lock on you. So just be aware of that. We've got here the electric charge port. The motorcycle's back. This guy, I wish him all the best. I wish he would just go somewhere else. Okay, different motorcycle guy. Here we are again. We've got this electric plug here. I forgot what this is called. I just use it. I'm sorry, I'm a bad EV owner. But it's got a nice little LED light. So at night it kind of helps you find the plug. And that's a nice feature. And it just, you kind of push it and it locks in place right there. So you press right here, open, and then put it back into place. Now when the car is locked, that door also locks. I mean, not that anyone's going to steal your electricity, but it's nice that that locks. Also, I found when you have it plugged into a charger, it has a little lock that's going to lock the charger in place. So, like the first time I tried to charge this thing, oh boy, another car. It's so busy today. What are you gonna do? So like the first time I was charging this thing, I couldn't get the charger to come out, and turns out it locks the charging cable in place, which is nice. That way somebody can't come and just unplug your car while it's charging. So that's really cool. Coming around back here, everything's pretty standard. You can see we've got the nice shark fin, or whatever you want to call that, which you know, this car has satellite radio, which I don't have active because I just don't understand why anybody would want satellite radio anymore. But you know, hey, if you have it and you like it, then I'm happy for you. I just don't use it. So anyway, we've got this nice little all-in-one shark fin antenna. That works great. We've got the fuel door here. This has a release on the inside. And, you know, it's pretty standard for most cars. Great. That guy again. Okay. So we're back. Here we are at the trunk. Now there's a little squeeze thing here that will let you into the trunk, which is great. Now I think this is a pretty nice looking car. It's overall very premium and lovely and wonderful. I will say that, you know, there are a few spots on the car where the Kia-ness of it really kind of shows through. And this is an odd gripe, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Take a look at that seam there. I mean, I know it's not important, and I know you're never going to see it once the trunk is closed. See? You can't see it, even though we're facing directly into the sun. But I just kind of feel like that's something, if this were a Lexus or a Toyota, I don't think it would have that. Again, it really doesn't matter at all. It's attached to the body, everything's fine. This car hasn't been in an accident. It's perfect, right? But I don't know. I think they kind of cut some corners, and there's some runs in the paint here. You know, it's just not quite premium. The other thing is, this is just me being picky, and I didn't even notice this till months later. So if you look here, here's the paint. It's so bright outside you may not be able to tell. But like in here, this part of the trunk is all just kind of almost a primer color, and not, you know, it's not really body color, which you know, doesn't matter that much. I just think, like, how hard would it have been for them to just give this a proper paint job? There's even some overspray on here from from the rest of the body. There's overspray here too, but it's factory overspray. It's not like, again, this car has never been wrecked. And you know, just kind of stuff like this. It just doesn't make any difference with how it drives, or how it looks when it's driving. I just think, like, they could have made that a little bit nicer. Sorry, I've got my junk here, but this kind of gives you some scale for how big the trunk is. It looks every bit the part of a real trunk. And it almost is a real trunk, but it's pretty small. It's just big enough that you can get a full-size suitcase from here to here. I mean, I'm not talking one of the huge jumbo suitcases, but you can get pretty good size luggage in here. And I've fit 2 rather large luggages, like side by side. A friend of mine came with me. We drove up to a conference in Northern California. So we went about 700 miles. We had luggage for both of us, and some bedding, and you know, food and instruments. And you know, we definitely made use of the back seat, you know, in that case. But you know, still pretty good. This is what really kind of won me over on this car. I was getting hot and heavy about the Ford Fusion Energy. That's what it is. And that's a really nice car. I enjoyed driving it and everything. And you know, I thought it was a really nice car and good value for the money. But the trunk was just useless. And that was just the hybrid model, not even the plug-in model. I'll give you a little tour here. Over here in this little cubby is our spare tire inflator kit, you know, which a lot of cars have now. Up here, this is a case for the charger. I don't have the charger in it right now. I don't know why you would carry a charger in a plug-in hybrid, you know, but whatever. Oh boy, the motorcycles. Oh good, he's up there. These motorcycles are just tormenting me today. There you can see the subwoofer, part of the Harman Kardon sound system that sounds really good. Not a ton of bass, but you know, just enough. It's fine. You've got this nice cardboard feeling floor, and this carpet that can only be described as like Velcro. I mean, I just vacuumed it, and you can see it's just, you can't get this stuff off. And I was using a strong vacuum. There's a car here. Lots of interruptions today. Over in here, this panel actually hides the battery. And only once have I had to go in here. But there you have it. And yeah, my battery went dead for some reason. I really don't know why. And it never did it again. I charged it up and everything was fine. So you can see where the, sorry about the sun, where you see that little Kia case. That's the hybrid battery under there, at least as far as I know. And then under here, under the floor, it's got this big styrofoam thing and a big like high voltage danger kind of thing. And so that is basically where the spare tire would have gone in this car, but instead that's where they put the plug-in battery. So that's your high voltage electric drive unit. And seems like there's more room in here, like, and they could have made a bigger battery. And you know, I can't help but wonder, you know, if this car had 10, 15 miles more range, it could do some stuff. I have no idea what that was, but it was loud. This is a rough day for this. So there you have it. That's the trunk and the batteries. A friend of mine has one of these. He just has the hybrid version, not the plug-in version. And he actually had to replace his hybrid battery at around, I think, 115, 120,000 miles. So that's kind of a bummer. And I think it cost him about $4 grand. I can't help but think that in not too long, these batteries are going to get a lot cheaper. We're going to make a cut right here. All right, so here we are at the back seat. God, cars on cars on cars. Unbelievable. Okay, so here we are. You can see, God, there's another car. Here we are in the back seat. And a couple of features that are really neat about this car. You've got these privacy curtains, which I think is just the best. Even if you don't have tinted windows, these are a really, really nice feature. Now, I'm going to sit behind myself here, and now I have this seat reclined really, really far. So if I kind of spread my legs out, it's fine. It's just fine. I mean, I would probably ask the driver to scoot up a little bit if I could, but this is doable. I just wouldn't want to like ride here for 5 hours or whatever. But it's okay. Got a nice hard plastic on the back of the seat here, but you know, nice leather or whatever material this is on the rest of the seat. As you can see, we've got our dual air vents here with the air control. And then down here we've got a 12 volt, come on camera. And then over here a USB. So that's pretty nice. You have options. Also, because this is the premium, you know, top of the line package. This piano black stuff. I cleaned it and it just left streaks everywhere. Stop using piano black. You can see you've got a button for the window, and then here is for the heated rear seats. Never had a car with heated rear seats. Pretty great. Never used it, but that's cool. Then you've got your armrest here, pretty standard. 2 cup holders. Really nothing to write home about, but it's perfectly functional. The wind noise in this car, very low. They did a really good job of insulating it. You can see over here we've got my son's car seat full of stuff, and you know, it has the standard kind of tether system, you know, latch on top and also one on each side. Works really well. It's perfect. You can tell they thought about children when they made this car, which is nice, especially if you have kids. So we'll kind of hop into the driver's seat, take a look around. I'm going to shut the door. I'm just sick of all this traffic. I'm going to start the car up just so I can get some air going here. This sun is rough today. I guess I parked in the worst possible spot. So it does a little system check, plays a little tune. That's nice. Gives you the standard government warnings. So let's talk interior features. I'm sure you can hear the AC is blasting at me. But over here we've got auto driver and passenger windows, which is nice. I don't know why they couldn't just put auto on the rear. I mean, it has heated rear seats. How about auto rear windows? That wouldn't have been that hard. Whatever. Over here we've got the memory seats, which that's a must-have, especially if you share this car with someone shorter than you. Get to the steering wheel here. You know, I may actually just repark this because this sun is really bright. But this is perfect. You can see the backup camera. Works quite well. It has the guidelines, which I'm a big fan of. There's a car coming. Can you believe it? I thought there was like nobody on this road. There's been more traffic here than up on the big road. Oh yeah, it's also got the mirrors that self-adjust when you put it in reverse. You can see it goes up, back into reverse, goes down, and they do that on both sides. And that's really, really nice so that you can see the curbs. Speaking of seeing the curbs, you know, I want you to notice, like, this is your driving, so I'll put this level with my head. Where's the front of the car? I have no idea where it ends or starts. And where's the side of the car? You know, it is really hard to tell. So that's kind of my biggest gripe. I'm really careful about like not curbing my wheels on any car because, you know, I'm a car guy. I hate curb rash. That's like the worst thing you can do. And I have curbed this car a couple of times just trying to park it. You know, I thought I was a long way from the curb and then nailed it. So kind of not super thrilled about that. I mean, I can't really fault the car for that, I guess, but, you know, I can sure fault the designers. But that's the case with a lot of modern cars. You just can't, you know, you can't tell where the back is, you can't tell where the sides are. So let's talk about the steering wheel. You've got the voice control here, and this is great. Obviously, like, no one's going to use the built-in, you know, that stuff. So, you know, this is pretty much only going to be useful if you're going to do kind of nav control stuff. Oh, didn't realize how dirty all this was. Whoops. So mode, that's going to change, you know, FM, AM, XM, and what have you. You know, or if you have your phone connected, it'll toggle back and forth there. This is going to change your radio station or your, you know, whatever song you're listening to. If you're using like an MP3 on your phone or Apple Music or Amazon Music, any of that stuff. And then obviously just, you know, your basic volume control. Press this in, it's going to mute it for you. You can see mute, broadcast. Obviously answer and hang up for the phone, and that works great. Oops, cancel, close. I didn't even know it did that. I've never even paired the Bluetooth phone on this. I plug it in with the iPhone cable and, you know, and it just automatically works. And it works great. I really like the hands-free on this. It's awesome. And I think this is probably the microphone up here. Come on, focus. There you go. Don't know how this scratch got here. It was like that when I bought the car. And, oh well, boo-hoo. Got this car with 9,500 miles. It's practically brand new, still smelled new, still kind of smells new. Has 38,000 miles now. And it's been great. And I'll talk more about that in my driving video. So, steering wheel controls. This one, and this was a little, you know, if you don't have a Hyundai or a Kia, you know, this can be a little deceiving, but this basically just takes you through the menus on here. So you can see, and each menu has sub-menus. So if you want to see the radio station, you know, you have it on this one. I don't know if it shows you volume too. No, it doesn't. That's okay. So that, and you use the up and down and the OK here to kind of like navigate these menus. So I'll press this again. Tire pressure, drive to display, service in that many miles. There's the engine temp. You know, obviously it's freezing cold because we haven't been driving and we haven't been using the internal combustion engine. And the user settings, you know, you can change some of these. The smart cruise, I mean, oh, I see. I've never actually messed with that. That's cool. Autonomous emergency braking. That's a nice feature. I'm going to leave that on. Forward collision warning, late, normal, or early. I've never changed that, but that does work very, very well. Especially, you know, if you're not, you know, if you're a little tired or whatever and somebody brakes suddenly in front of you, that's really nice. It's really nice. Cross traffic alert in the rear, that works so well. I mean, I've had, you know, I'll be about to back out of my driveway and, you know, I can't see anything. There's nobody coming, and then all of a sudden it'll beep at me, and there will be some kid that's about to walk behind my car. I don't know how the car sees him. It's awesome. Coasting guide. Oh, cool. I guess there's a guide for coasting. And that's fine. Oh, you know what? I have had it do that, but I don't know. Start coasting. And I don't really know what this feature is all about. This is all kind of new to me. I just drive the car. But as you can see, you can change all of these things. Smart trunk. Now, initially, I thought this was a great feature. Basically, if the car's locked and you have the key in your pocket, you can just kind of walk up to the trunk, and then it'll go beep, 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 and then it'll open the trunk for you. So if your hands are full of stuff, that's really nice. But I turned that off because it kept opening when I didn't want it to, and it's just not. Just no. I just know. I don't need it, and I don't want it. And then, of course, you can change all of this stuff. The blind spot detection, that works great. I really like that. It's a little annoying, but it really works well. Oh, I guess you can set the seat to go back all the way every time you turn it off, but I don't do that. Steering position, I don't remember what that does. I'll turn that on. We'll find out together. It's going to be great. You can change the service interval. I mean, there are just so many things here. So many things that you can change, which I think is great. You know, it's nice to have choices. Here we've got this basic fuel economy. I'm going through these too fast. My apologies. So this shows you your total range up top, and then how many of those miles are going to be electric, how many are going to be gas. We've got the average miles per gallon. It's a little low right now because I forgot to charge a couple of times, and I drove anyway because who cares? You know, it still gets good mileage. And then your standard trip A and B, and then your miles per hour. The thing I love about having an electric car or a hybrid car is just the ability to sit in the car with the AC running and you're not burning gas. I think that is the best. In my line of work as a musician, oftentimes I want to get places really, really early, and you know, I may have some business to do, or I just want to be comfortable. So I just sit here in the car with the AC running, and I'm not burning all my gas. So that's great. Can't believe it, but there's a guy with a guitar walking up behind me. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe I'll put the car in gear, or at least I'll be ready to. This is strange. This is like the worst day to film. But, yeah, like, where did he come from? I am so confused right now. All right. Gee. Here we've got our compass. I never use that, but I'm sure it's great. This shows the cruise control system. There, I'll turn it on. Now it's on. And you can see, I think I can change it. I guess I have to be driving to turn off the adaptive cruise and just have the normal cruise. But again, love that feature. It's the best. So in all the time I've been sitting here flapping my gums or my lips or whatever you say, have I used any range? That's the question. Nope. I'm still at 13 miles of electric, which is great. It's just really great. Let's turn our attention, obviously nice leather wrapped steering wheel. Over here you've got your blind spot monitoring. You can turn that off, and I think it'll say something, yeah. Blind spot detection system off. Now I'll turn it back on. And that just beeps at you if somebody is in your blind spot, and there's a little blind spot thing on the mirror that lights up, and it makes a really annoying sound. You've got your traction control off, trunk release, fuel door. This is for your gauge lights. And then this feature, that's your lane departure warning system. And I bought this car used. My dealership, honestly, and I don't mean to light them up. I mean, they've been nice to me and everything, but I don't feel like they've tried very hard to solve a couple of my problems. And I'm wondering if I have a fault with the lane departure warning system. Kind of thought it was supposed to, correct the wheel, but it doesn't. It just makes like a beeping sound. So it annoys me, so I turned it off. If any of you have this car at home, please let me know if that's actually supposed to turn the wheel. Not a big deal. I don't really need it, but still, if it's supposed to work, I would like it to work, especially while the car's under warranty. Speaking of warranty, 5 years, 60,000 miles. I'm not the original owner, so I don't get the 10-year, 100,000 miles, just the 5 year, 60,000. And I didn't buy the car certified, so it was just a used car. But I got a screaming deal, and the car was perfect, so I don't regret that. Over here, you can actually adjust the auto mirror. If I want the mirrors to just fold in, I can do that. The mirrors work great, or you can turn that feature off altogether. I leave it on. It's fancy. I'm not totally confident that the little motors in the mirror here are going to last 200,000 miles. It just seems like they're not going to. But I don't know that. I just think they're kind of noisy. And like my mom has a Lexus that's, it's 19 years old, and her auto mirrors barely make a sound. So I don't know. Anyway, getting back over here, you've got all of these buttons, and it's really great to have buttons even though you have a touch screen. My menu, I forgot what's even on here. Not much, unless there's more up. No, that's it. For being 2018, it's fairly responsive. It's a little slow. See, little bit, but it's not bad. The UVO system works okay. It's not great, but it's okay. And that's kind of like the Kia OnStar. There's a phone app. You can actually remote start and auto lock the car with your phone, which is neat. It doesn't work very well. It takes like a minute or two to actually respond, but it will do it. So if you don't mind waiting and you have the time, that's cool. We've got actual buttons for the HVAC, which is nice. There you go, a little focus there. I really like that the Kia and the Hyundai, they have this driver-only feature, which is really great. I think every car should have that. Also, the volume knob is the best, and of course you can turn it off by just pressing it. AV off. Just works great. Love all of that. You've got your radio button. It gives you actually like a pretty detailed screen. I feel like there could be a little more info, but it's okay. It does do the HD radio, and that's very nice. And you can see it does like an Audi style kind of seek thing. I never listen to the radio. I'm always, I have the iPhone hooked up, and I have the premium Amazon Music, so I use that all the time. Or I listen to, whatever I want. It's got a USB here, and that's going to hook up your phone, to do Bluetooth, or not Bluetooth, but hands-free calling, and of course all of the music stuff and whatever you want to do. And you got a traditional 12-volt outlet, 2 of them, which is great. You got your auxiliary input. It's really great. I hope cars continue to have this. And it's got this nice little slide cover, which I never close. It's always open. And then here you've got another little cubby for things. Got to have your coffee. It has 2 nice cup holders. Electronic parking brake, heated and cooled seats. Awesome. Auto hold is the best. I love this feature. Turning that on right now. And if you've never had a car with auto hold, that basically just means once you have it on, if you go to if you get to a stop sign or a red light, or you're in traffic or whatever, you need to stop, you can actually take your foot off the brake, and the car is just going to hold you in place, which is so nice. And then as soon as you hit the gas, you're moving again. Love that feature. we've got the heated steering wheel. And I never knew that I wanted this, but it's great. I love heated steering wheel. Active Eco, so this kind of takes you through the driving modes. If you can see here on my dusty dashboard. There we go. If I turn that off, we're kind of in like regular car mode. Oh, we just lost a mile. Darn. But that's okay. So when it's not on Active Eco, you know, the car is more of, it's a little more sporty and feels more like a regular car. But on the Eco mode, it's very much about conserving power. And so I leave it there most of the time because that's why you drive this, so that you get good mileage. Then over here you have the HEV button. And so you'll see if I hybrid mode. So now we're not in electric car mode, we're in hybrid mode. So the internal combustion engine is running, and right now it's probably going to be charging up the hybrid battery. And we can actually see that. It's a little confusing, but the setup button is kind of the button you want sometimes. We'll go home and I'll hit the PHEV button. And there you can see it is charging the battery. That's how that works. And it'll also show you like how far you can go on EV range. Most of the time I don't use this, but there's kind of my circle of range. Now I can drive anywhere within this circle. And I guess it's showing where the nearest gas stations are and EV charging stations. But you know, again, I just don't really care about that. That's what's nice about this car. You can find any gas station and just fill her up. It's a regular car, you know, kind of. And it'll also tell you, you can also set when you want it to charge and all of that stuff. I never mess with this stuff, but it'll find gas stations and charging stations. If we press the diagram of the car, you can see it'll give you kind of that Prius style thing, you know, and it'll show you what it's doing. If we go over here, battery information, you can see on a level 1 charger, it would take 4 hours to get to 100%. On a level 2, 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I have a level 2 at home, and highly recommend that, especially because I think, you know, everyone's going to need level 2, you know, before too long. So I just had that done. Had our handyman do it. It didn't cost too much. And there you can see the gasoline range and the total range and the electric range. And what else? I think, yeah, if I press on the miles per gallon, and like 55 miles per gallon is pretty good. I can do better, but that's pretty good. Eco level 3. So my tree is not huge right now. But you can kind of see the history of my drives. How many miles I went, on what date, and what my average was. Looks like, oh, there we go. I guess March 15th was when I cared. And I guess, you know, I had kept things pretty well charged up. So you can see I was deep into the 60s. Best ever, I think, would have been, I had it up to like 250 miles per gallon, which, you know, that's not a very real number. I mean, that was really more about, all I was doing like local stuff, just, you know, city driving, and I was able to plug in all the time. So if you can plug in all the time, you never run out of juice. It's great. I'm sure I'm forgetting some features, but I forgot to mention one of my favorite features of this car, and that would have to be the dual pane sunroof. So I've got this little button up here, and if you want to just vent it, you can just press up on it, and it's going to open up this little cover. It opens it up halfway. Now, I can close that, just press down on it again, and then I can close the cover by pressing forward. That works just fine. If I just want to open the cover, I just hit that button once. It's kind of noisy, but it goes all the way back. So even if you're in the back seat, you can still kind of get some light, which is really nice. And then, of course, if you want to do full sunroof, there you go. It kind of obstructs the second pane there, but it's sure nice, you know, especially if you want to get some open air motoring, you know, and do the sunroof thing, which is sure a nice feature. And you're only going to get that if you have the technology package on this car. I was also really considering the Hyundai Sonata, but that car does not come with a sunroof at all in the plug-in hybrid version for some reason. It has everything else that this car has, but it doesn't have that. And so that was worth it to me to hold off and find a Kia instead of a Hyundai. The Sonata looks nice, and I think that's, I think that's a nice option. But the Kia also looks fine, and they're the same car. It's the same drivetrain and everything. So I hope that's helpful. I knew I forgot something. Apple CarPlay works great. Love it. So, sometimes I have problems with Waze. I kind of wonder if that's not a problem with my phone and not so much a problem with this. I don't know. But CarPlay is great. And I think it has Android Auto, but I have an iPhone. So I don't really know. I haven't tried, my wife has an Android, but I haven't tried plugging that in. But works really well. And it does all the stuff that you would expect CarPlay to do. It's fairly responsive. It's a little Starbucks. It's a little slow. There's just like a little bit of delay, but really not bad for being, a 2018. That's the gist of it. The car also has LED lighting throughout, and that works well. It's got lighted vanity mirrors, and that also works just fine. It's got the light up there. Not super premium. Again, it's, this is a Kia, but it has kind of the features of a Rolls-Royce, which is great. But, like this looks fancy, but then when you feel it, it's not fancy. Oh, it also has this little really messy cubby right here. I've just got like napkins and forks and stuff, chopsticks. And it has another USB power supply in there. It also has a little separator thing, which is nice. It'll hold your stuff. Really handy, nice deep pockets in the doors. That works great. Again, the Harman Kardon stereo is really, really nice. Sounds really good. It's nice and balanced. I'm really impressed with it. So I think that's about it. Oh yeah, I just wanted to talk briefly about the heated and cooled seats. The cooled seats are just delightful. I love those. Those are really great. And the heated seats, those are great too. That does exactly what you would expect it to. Keep you nice and toasty. But you are going to suffer on your range if you use a lot of these things. If you're going to use the heated seat, try not to use the heat. If you're really trying to like hypermile. And the same thing, if you're going to use the air-conditioned seat or the cooled seat, don't use the air conditioning. There's always kind of like a trade-off. Or if you just want to say, screw it, I'm just going to be comfortable, you're still going to get, you're still going to average in the 50s in your miles per gallon if you're charging frequently. If you don't charge at all, you're going to do about 37 miles per gallon, 37 to 40. So like not bad. And we're talking regular fuel. So that's pretty cool. Before I conclude the features part of the video, I guess we should talk about the engine, because we didn't do that yet. That's what that sound is. I was going to say, man, they make a noisy motor. And really, it is a noisy motor. It doesn't sound particularly lovely. It's just kind of, it's kind of rattly and noisy. But hey, it does the job. And it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder. I'll get the specs. I just don't remember what they are. If you notice, there's still a good bit of room in here, which I think is pretty neat. Especially considering that you've essentially got 2 drivetrains. You've got your electric motor plus this. And there you can see the high voltage lines back there. I never go under here. I check the oil, that's about it. You know, and even that probably don't need to do, but you should check your oil. Just be a good car owner. Oh, and it turned off. I shut the hood and it turned off. So, you know, it's the integration between running and not running is very seamless, and you know, I'm really impressed with the overall package. So that concludes my features tour, and thanks for watching.